toxicology, it is very important, as you know that whenever we are going to test the any kinds of new chemical entity, it may be from the natural source or it may be from the any other synthetic source. First of all, before detecting its activity or its what kind of use it may have, first of all we need to detect its a toxicity, right? Toxicity study, it is very important for any of the drug, right? So whenever it comes to the toxicity, the different governing bodies which is existing in the country or even the outside of the country, they are framed different types of rules and regulations, right? So what kind of rules and regulations it is there for the different types of toxicity, different field of toxicology, that we are basically going to discuss. So today, as it is the what you call new introduction class, I will just brief the what kind of what are the different branches of toxicology, and in the coming week, means in the further classes, these are going to be the my main heading where I'm going to explain about the last unit of your pharmacology, right? First of all, what is the OECD guidelines? In the tomorrow class we are going to discuss. ICS has also given some rules and regulations to what you call taste to how to identify the toxicity, what is the level of toxicity, right? So then good in the good laboratory practice also, OECD has given the guidelines. What are the what is the toxicokinetic parameters are there, saturation kinetics it is there. So these are the points where we are going to have the discussion on the toxicity or any kind of toxicology. So when it comes to the toxicology, what is the toxicology that we are going to discuss? Like, first of all, toxicology is a branch of science, of course, that deals with the toxins, poisons, their effect and treatment, right? So when we say toxins, right, so what does it means, right? Because we are here to discuss about the different types of drug. When I say any drug or any chemical entity or any chemical compound, right, it should have the biological activity, or it should show any kinds of biological activity into the biological system. It may be in vitro or it may be in vivo, right? So when that particular chemical may behave like a drug, that particular chemical may behave like a poison. It's all about what is the its mechanism of action, what is the its what kind of effect it is going to give into the biological system, right? So that's what study of which deals with the toxins, poisons, their effect and their treatment also, right? Because why, when we need to have the treatment, when the particular chemical compound it is showing any adverse reaction or any side action which is unwanted, which we don't want, or which may be the which that's what poison word, it is very popular or very familiar, anything we when we are saying that food poisoning it is happening, or when snake biting it is poison, it is going in the into the systemic circulation, or it is showing some damage effect. So that's what these words it is coming, and whenever we are dealing with these kinds of words or these kinds of activity, their treatment, their handling, this all comes under the toxicology. Toxicological screening is very important for development of new drugs, right? So we are here to discuss, whenever we are screening any kinds of new chemical entity, we need to know about that particular chemical entity, whether it is safe to use of the into the any biological system or not, right? So that's what new drug, when it is new drug, because whatever the existing drug we are having, existing chemical compound we are having, that has been already screened, right? So that's what it is very important for development of new drugs, and for extension of the therapeutic potential of existing molecule, right? So that's what is the limit, that's what we are going to discuss about, the what is the LD50, what is the ED50, how we are determining that what kind of dose can be given to the particular of when we are in the preclinical trial, or when we are in the clinical trials, So it's all about the dose, and it's all about the behavior of that particular chemical entity which we are going to screen for its activity, right? Toxicology uses the power of science to predict or to assume what and how, right? These two is very important. What and how chemicals may cause harmful effect or unwanted effect, and then shares its information or that information to protect public health. That's what so many chemical it is already known for their toxicity. Whenever it will be used, it may be toxic. That's what, whenever we might be knowing that so many food item, whenever we are having sometimes of the opposite types of food, so it becomes poison, right? Or any kinds of drug, when we are that's what we have, we are very much familiar with the antagonism, synergism, or how the one drug it is going to increase the activity of another drug, and when we are taking two drugs simultaneously, it may cause the adverse reaction, or it may cause the lethal side effect that may damage to the tissues, organs, ultimately for the human life also, right? So that's what this all the things, whenever it comes to the new chemical entity or new chemical compound or new chemical constituents, right? So we need to know about whether it is harm. Forget about the activity. First, it is important or necessary to find out its toxicity parameters, right? What is the dose we can give to the particular biological system that it may save. Then further we are going to bother about its activity, right? So that's what, when we are screening any chemical, any extract, it may be plant extract, it may be animal products, which we want to know about its activity, right? So first of all, in literature review, what we are going to search, first of all we are going to search whether toxicity study has been done for this particular chemical compound or not. If it has been done, what are the data available, right? That's what. And if it is done, what kind of effective dose they have taken, 250 mg per kg, 500 mg per kg, what kind of dose has been taken for that particular activity. Those data we are going to collect. If it is new drug, that's what I have used this word, right? The development of new drug, when if the particular chemical constituents which is not known or unknown, so in that case we have to go for its toxicity testing, right? It's a toxicity study, right? So we are here to discuss basically that. But in this toxicology, the so many toxicity study it is coming, so many branches it is having, right? So first of all, in this today's class we are going to have the discussion on those branches. Then we'll come to the pharmaceutical toxicity study, right? A toxic agent is anything, right, that can produce an adverse biological effect. That's what I told before also, right? Any agent, it may be any kinds of chemical compound. It may obtain from mineral origin, it may obtain from plant, it may obtain from animals, it may obtain from microorganism. Whatever may be the source, it may be synthetic, semi-synthetic, whatever the chemical agent, right? That's what the toxic agent that can produce adverse biological reaction. Adverse biological reaction means side action, or which is unwanted, which is lethal, which is harmful for the particular biological system or particular animal or particular human being, right? That's what it may be chemical, it may be physical, it may be sometime biological also, in the case of snake bite, right? In that form, right? For example, a toxic agent may be chemical. For example, cyanide. Cyanide, all of you know that cyanide, it is the harmful chemical. First of all, whenever it will be touched to the tongue also, the death may occur, the cardiac arrest, the respiratory failure, it may happen in the fraction of time. So that is one of the toxic chemical identified or well known or very good example. Coming to the physical types of toxins, or which may be the radiation like UV radiation or gamma radiation, which radiation it may damage to the cell or its metabolites or its physiology dysfunctioning, it may cause, that is called the physical toxin. Coming to the biological toxins, or the biological agent which may cause like such as snake biting, right, venom, right, snake venom, the whatever the snake which is poisonous, if it will bite, obviously the particular chemical compound which will enter into the systemic circulation, and it may damage first of all cells, tissues, then organ, and ultimately person may reach to the death level also, right? So these are the different toxins which may have anywhere. Let me not concise in one field. It may be into the environment, it may be into the soil, it may be into the water, it may be plant, animal, anywhere. That chemical, that physical, that biological, if it is there, which may cause that particular harmful effect into the biological system, that is called toxic agent. Toxic substances may be systemic toxins or organ toxins. It depends. That's what we are here to discuss, that particular chemical compound, how it is going to show its effect onto the biological system or into the body, right? Right. Systemic toxins means just, it's just like general anesthetics and local anesthetics, right? What is the kind of failure it is going to have, what is the kind of disturbance into the physiological system up to the on the body, it depends, right? So that maybe it depend on to the particular toxins. A systemic toxins is one that affect the entire body or many organs rather than a specific site. That's what systemic means, entire body, just like a general anesthesia. Whenever the major surgery it is required into the operation theater, they are going to give the general anesthesia. Whenever the minor surgery at the particular part of the body, whenever where it has gone injured, or any small surgery like got arthritis or something like that, maybe snake bite, so in that case organ toxins it is going to have, right? So in the same way, systemic toxins, it is whenever these kinds of toxins, it is that incident it is happening with the particular person, the entire body it is going to affect, or maybe unconsciousness, the person may reach, or it may reach to the death also. Organ toxins is one that affect only specific tissues or organ, right? It may damage to the liver, maybe it may damage to the hepatocytes, it may damage to the beta cells, it may damage to the epithelial cells of the stomach, of the intestine, or any part of the body, right? So that's what these two types of toxicity we are going to have with the all other toxins, right? So here generally whenever as a toxicologist, whenever any compounds or any sample, if you are going to receive or into the any toxicology department, so what is going to have the, what is the kind of things first up are going to determine, the mainly focus to get the following important information about that particular agent, about that particular chemical toxins, right? So first of all, detection of the toxins, right? First of all, what is the kind, which category of chemical it is, like right, it may be what kind of functional group it is having, what kind of behavior. So that we have to, first of all we have to determine the kind of toxins, and the occurrence of the toxins, whether where it is traveling, where it is occur into the body, right? What is the kind, what then further we need to know about the its property, what is the kind of pH, temperature, it is going to have, what kind of behavior, what is the type, what is the rate of absorption, how it is going to distribute, what is the half life of that toxins, and where it is going to excrete from the body, how long it is going to be there with your plasma, and all those things. Then effect, right? So effects means that's ADME only, right? How, what is, whenever it is absorbed by the particular organ, so what is the kind of effect it is going to give. After all, it is toxins, but in being a toxins, it will be having lethal effect, moderate effect, or mild effect. So that we have to determine. Then after determining its effect, we need to know about the treatment pattern, what is the kind of treatment can be adopted to come out from that toxins, right? If it is severe, we have to give the organ activated charcoal, and so many the poisoning handling it is going to happen. It depends on the presence of toxins and behavior of toxins. Then toxin regulations also we need to know, because once we will come to know about that particular agent, what are the prescribed rules and regulations it is given by the OECD, WHO, ICH, and all the governing bodies which is existing throughout the world, and they have given time to time, they are framing the rules and regulations, what kind of strategy is going to taken place for the particular toxin handling, right? There are various types of toxicology as outlined below, right? So these are the different branches of toxicology. Analytical toxicology, obviously the name indicates, right? So here analytical toxicology means analysis of the particular toxicity, a particular toxins we are going to have. Applied toxicology means what kind of methodology it is going to apply. Then clinical toxicology means coming to the treatment pattern, diagnosis pattern, we are going to have, that is comes under the clinical. Forensic toxicology, like in forensic laboratory, the kind of toxicology whatever we are going to study, that is the environmental toxicology, where in environment so many toxins it is there, it may be into the soil, air, water, right? So there what kind of toxicant are available, that we are going to study their group, their effect, their property, and all those things. Reproductive and developmental toxicology, right? In human body, in the reproductive system, what kind of toxins, and development of the fetus, if it is going to have the what kind of like teratogens, it is there, so many types of radiations, it is chemicals, drugs, medicines, it is prohibited. So immunotoxicology, like in immune response, during the immune response towards the particular pathogen, what kind of toxicant may behave over there, that when we are going to study, it comes under the immunotoxicology, right? So these are the different branches of toxicology which we are going to study in the in general, the in the toxicology. So let us try to brief on the, each and every one, coming to the analytical toxicology. So as the name indicate, analytical, the branch of toxicology which deals with the study of detection and assay of poisonous chemicals, right? So obviously poisonous chemicals is, these are the all the synonyms like toxicants, then toxic agent, toxins, poisons, or chemical entity, right? So we have to detect and we have to assay it, because until and unless we will not assay, will not come to know about its property, its behavior, its mechanism, right? Including their metabolites, and that could affect biological system, right? Ultimately, we are here to discuss about what is the kind of effect it is going to show into the biological system, or into the particular organism, living organisms, right? It may be animals, it may be rodent, non-rodent, any human being, or any veterinary, right? So it depends. So that we are, when we are going to discuss under this, that is called analytical toxicology. Coming to the applied toxicology, it is the application of new and modern method or technologies, right? That's what applied, when we are it will be into the utilization in application of the determination of the particular toxicant, right? So that's what modern method and technologies for early detection of any poisonous chemical or toxicant, once again, right? Poisonous chemical or toxicant in the field, that setting or the practice area. So that new methods, that's what it is called, applied pharmacology will be there, applied pharmacognosy, applied toxicology. So in that way, it is which is in the use or in utilization, that kind of new methods whenever it is being developed, but for the particular toxicant detection and its analysis, that is called applied toxicology. Coming to the third one, clinical toxicology, right? So when we talk about the clinical toxicology, it is mainly involved in the study of diagnosis and treatment, right? So first of all, we need to diagnose it, we need to identify it, right? So then until and unless we will not identify, like whenever we might be knowing, whenever we are suffering from any kinds of fever, we are going for we are giving the blood sample, and the pathologist is determining that what kind of pathogen has been entered, malaria, typhoid, chikungunya, or coronavirus, or whatever it may be. So then only the treatment will be decided, that what kind of medication has to go on, what kind of treatment has to go on. So that's what it comes under the clinical, right? That's what pure clinical of poisoning, and that occur in humans, right? So that's what ultimately first human, then animals and other organisms, right? So basically we are here to concern about the human being ultimately, but when because any preclinical study it go on anywhere, right? For any of the branches of toxicology, first the preclinical, then clinical, then post clinical, right? So this will be go on into the particular patterns as for study and all those things, so that we are going to discuss in the coming classes. So as of now, this you should know. Coming to the next one, fourth one, veterinary toxicology. As the name indicate, veterinary means animals, right? So the study of diagnosis and treatment of animal poisoning, right? So veterinary means directly animal. So animal poisoning, including the transmission of toxins from animal to human via milk, maybe meat, it may be fish, it may be food stuff, and etc., right? So so many things, toxins, because the human beings, their the animal products, it is the part of their food, and so many animal products we are using as a food, as a medicine. So there is a chances that so many toxins it may be transmit from the animal to animal transmission, like, so those kinds of toxicity whenever we are studying in the particular branch that is called the veterinary toxicology. Then coming to the environmental toxicology, right? So when we talk about the environmental toxicology, it is nothing but the study of presence of different toxicant, including their metabolites and the degradation products in the environment or into the surrounding, right? It may be air, or it may be water, or anything which we consider as the environment, their effect on humans and animals, right? Say for example, sulfur dioxide. So in air, other than oxygen, other than carbon dioxide, which is the well known gases, there are so many pollutants available, right? So those pollutants, they may be toxicants when we will consider them when whenever it will be inhaled, or whenever it will be uh, taken by the human being, or by the any animal or any living organism, and they are getting any adverse effect, any side effect, or any kinds of unwanted signs and symptoms, and discomfortness from the environment, those toxicant detection of those toxicants, identifying of those toxicants, diagnosis of those toxicants, this comes under the environmental toxicology. Coming to the next one, industrial toxicology. As the name indicate, industry, right? It is the study of selective and specific area of environmental toxicology, right? So particular whatever the wastage, it is coming out from the industry, like for example, from the big chimneys, whatever the air fume it is coming out, or whatever the wastage they are releasing into the water, in the river, and in the other form, they are sometimes they are mixing into the soils, and so many things. So those toxicant ultimately, because it is in ecosystem, ultimately it may go into the soil, it may go into the water, then it will go, the crop will be absorbing, the tree will be absorbing, and the toxins, or that particular chemical agent may be travel from the plant to animal to human being. So the toxicants, that's what we are when we are studying industrial toxins released by the industry and factories, companies, that is whatever, then we are determining, that is called industrial toxicology, right? Then coming to the immunotoxicology. So each and every heading, it is the heading itself, it is revealing its identity, like immuno, right? So immuno means immune system. It deals with the effect of toxicant on immune system, right? That say B cell, T cells, and the immunoglobulins, and so many other, the immune cells or immune response, the team which is working into the body, in that whatever the interference we are getting from any of the chemical compound or toxicant, which we are determining and diagnosing, that is called immunotoxicology. Coming to the productive and developmental toxicology, right? So reproductive, right? So reproductive means it focus on the effect of chemical or poisonous chemical or toxicant onto the reproductive system of male and female, right? And a developing embryo, right? So whatever the fetus or what It may be from animal, it may be from human being, it may be from any other living organism which may proceed these kinds of activity or biological process that is called a reproduction, or right. So in the after reproduction they may have the fetus, they may have the embryo which is being developing inside their body. So during that development, whatever the cause, or it may be physical, biological, again and chemical, right. So say for example teratogens, it is there. So many plant products like cannabis sativum, it is there. Then coca plant, belladonna plant, these are the examples of the plant which will be, if it will be taken by the pregnant woman, or by the any of the pregnant animals, it may damage to the fetus, it may interference into the development of that particular embryo. So that is also one of the toxins. So many toxins, it is radiations, it is very good example. UV rays, it is examples, right. Snake bite, obviously it is example. So these are the things which may happen, incident that is called. The mechanistic toxicology, it is the another thing. Then descriptive toxicology, regulatory toxicology, so rule making and the compliance. So these are the different field of the toxicology. Like mechanistic toxicology, what it is a study of how chemical or physical agents interact with living organisms to cause toxicity, right. So what is the, that's what the heading itself, it is revealing the mechanism or mode of action into the biological system or into the human body, how the kind of interaction it is going to have, that is called aim of the mechanistic toxicology is to identify that how xenobiotics enter into the organism, and how these are disturbed metabolites of the body. Ultimately, whenever as soon as this particular chemical agent or toxicant, it will enter into the biological system, first of all it will absorb, right. That's what we know, the ADME part. And as in pharmacology, any drug entity or any food entity, whenever it will be entered, it will absorb. Once it will absorb, what is the kind of absorption pattern it is adopting, then it will distribute or it will metabolize. So what kind of disturbance it is going to have, because ultimately if it is not disturbing, it cannot be toxicant, right. When we are studying here, so obviously it is going to interfere into the any physiological process, any tissue group, any cells, or any kinds of organ, it is going to have the dysfunctioning or disturbance that we are going to identify. Knowledge of the mechanism of toxicity of a substance or of a chemical or of a poison, which enhance the ability to prevent toxicity and design more desirable chemical. So these things we are going to have the study in under this particular group of toxicology. Mechanistic understanding helps the governmental regulators to establish legally binding safe limit for human exposure, right. Once we'll come to know the mechanism, the different governing body which is existing, which their duty and their work, it is to frame the rules and regulations, like these for example in starting itself, I told the physical toxicant, it is the example of cyanide. So cyanide, why it is declared as a toxicant, or right, cyanide, it may be used for the so many suicide case it has happened, like chloroform, it may be toxicant, right. So many other chemicals, carbon tetrachloride, alcohol. So why it is, because so that we how much quantity if it is inhaled or it has been taken, so that it can, what is the limit, safe limit for human exposure, that can be determined, right. So that's what so that the rules also can be framed for the particular this much limit, it is safe for the human exposure and all those. This it is also useful in forming the basis for therapy and design of new drugs for treatment of human disease, right. So that's what once again if it is determined, if it is absorbed by the it will metabolize in liver, or it will metabolize into the blood, or it will metabolize into the kidney, what is the location it is adopting, what kind of harmful effect it is going to give. So if it will be determined, we can design the design of new drug for treatment of human disease, right? So that can be known by the mechanistic toxicology. So few terms which we are going to have the frequently discussed into the coming classes, like toxicodynamics and toxicokinetics, like pharmacodynamics and pharmacokinetics. Their drug movement we are going to discuss here. Toxicant movement we are going to have the discussion. We are completely here focusing on to the chemical entity which is known as a toxicant, or which may be toxicant, right? Which may have the poisonous effect into the biological system. So coming to the same as a pharmacodynamic, toxicodynamics refers to the molecular, biochemical, and physiological effect of toxicant or of poison and their metabolites in biological system, or into the human body, or into the animal body, or into the any of the biological system. It may be any body, right? So there, what is the molecular, biochemical, and physiological effect that particular chemical entity it is able to show, then only what is the, that's what I told, the minimum eligibility of the particular chemical compound, minimum eligibility of the particular chemical compound, that we can say ki this is the what you call toxicant, right? Until and unless it will safely, it will excrete from the body, once it will be inhaled, or it will be oral route or parental route or whatever route, if it has been taken, if it will, without showing any incident, if it will excrete out from the body, it cannot be toxicant, right? So that's what is the kinds of the dynamics of the movement of the particular thing that we are going to discuss into the toxicodynamics. Coming to the toxicokinetics, is it the quantitative of the time course of toxicants in the body during the process of absorption, distributions, biotransformation, and the excretion or clearance of toxicants, right? Urine clearance, or it is clearing from the liver, or what is the kind, right? So excretion, so all the ADME, let me tell you, ADME of the particular chemical entity, like same thing we are doing in the pharmacokinetic for the drug. Whenever the drug, because drug has been injected at the route of administration, it has been decided for the particular chemical entities to show the biological activity or therapeutic activity. Here we are going to discuss, or we are going to determine the kind of the same thing it is happening, right? ADME, absorption, distribution, or transformation, or distribution, or excretion, but for the toxicant or for the chemical agent which can show the any incident. So delivery, when it comes to the site of exposure, the targets reaction of the ultimate toxicant with the target molecule, cellular dysfunction, these are the incident which is going to the root of the particular chemical entity into the body, dysfunction and the resultant toxicity, repair and the disrepair, right? So this is the kind of things going to have. So which are the chemical, we can say these are the toxicants. So in that case, chemicals that cause DNA adducts can lead to the DNA mutations, which can activate cell death, pathway, like phagocytosis. If mutations activate the oncogenes or inactivate tumor suppressors, it can lead to the uncontrolled cell proliferation and cancer. For example, benzopyrene, right? So benzopyrene is the chemical which will leads to the DNA mutation, right? So if it will be inhaled, if it will be taken by mistake, or by the some other kinds of inhale or something like that, it may cause cancer. So that's what it is, toxicant, right? That's what